but I'm grateful to be here, and I'm happy that you all are here. You know, this is a commitment. This is a time commitment on your part, and I'm just happy that you could be here today, and I could share a couple tips with you. I'm coming at a different angle. I can't see you guys right now, but I'm hoping that you have a pen and paper handy. Okay, I know he records these. Luke, thank you, and thank you so much for allowing me to be here, and appreciate you taking the time recording this so others can hear this again later on, possibly too. Fantastic. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to come rapid fire to you. How much time do I have?
You've got a whole hour, but
Okay.
typically our webinars go sometimes half hour, 40 minutes. So you do have a full hour. And yet typically, because we have a good amount of people joining the calls, everybody will be on mute until the end. Then we can open up for some Q&A. So yeah, you can just go ahead and take it away.
Okay, fantastic. I will not need the hour, at least I don't think so, but hey, maybe some questions will open up some more conversation, which is wonderful.
Perfect.
So I'm coming at a different angle today. You know, there's two really important aspects of your business, and if I'm able to see the chat, or if Luke is, maybe I'd love some participation from you today as to what are some of the most important aspects of your business. And here's the key word, ... before the doors open. What are some of the most important aspects that you know need to be in place before those doors actually open? So I'd love to hear some feedback. What are those aspects? There's no wrong answers. Just want to get an idea of where you guys are, your perspective on this.
Jennifer, I believe I opened the chat up for everybody to chat in, but because I made you the host, I can't see that anymore. So in the bottom right, if you open up the chat widget, if you don't open the chat widget, you'll see on the bottom right, there's like 3 little dots. And you can press on that and you can say attendees can chat with.
Okay, inventory. We got some
Nice.
things coming in. Very good. Inventory. All right. I like that. Cleanliness. Yes. Please. Yes, we absolutely. Personnel. A clean and pretty place. Okay, fantastic. And extremely important. Okay. Attitude. Is that what we're saying there? I just want to make sure. Sorry. So thank you for your answers. So ambiance, that's what I thought you were thinking. I thought so. Yes, absolutely. These are so essential. And I would say, you know, the 3 top things that are important, I normally would say off the top of my head is, you know, making sure the food is up to par, the ambiance, that environment, and the cleanliness of it, right? And those are some of the most important things before you open the door. But I want you to consider 2 more. And because these 2 is what truly runs a successful business and keeps it thriving for years to come. It's just not the food, it's just not the ambiance and the cleanliness, all extremely important, right? There's like 999 other things that are important, but there's 2 other ones. And we really need to get good at managing systems and developing people. Managing systems and developing people. We've all heard the phrase about the P's, right? Poor preparation, blah, 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 performance, right? I got another one for you. If you don't put a plan in place, then you essentially have created a plan to fail. And so all great training starts with the why. And so let's talk about training your teams up for success, right? This is a nuts and bolts of building a thriving restaurant in a volatile financial climate right now. And so it's about people first. And today I want to share with you a formula that you can follow to make sure that your people are trained up, prepared, and motivated, and hopefully leave your establishment feeling heard and appreciated to be working with you as the restaurant owner. I believe I'm speaking to the restaurant owners today. So these are 5 simple steps that create a training process, and it'll eliminate at least a majority of your issues. Let's put it that way. Eliminates nearly a majority of your issues when it comes to helping your people thrive within your establishment. So of course, there needs to be systems, right? Systems are also known as having checklists to remind your people to complete tests, to remind those that you're working with what needs to get done. Okay, so that pen and paper is going to really come in handy now for these 5 simple training steps. Okay, number 1 is why we do what we do. Okay, number 2, and I'm just going to have you write these down. How we do what we do. Number 3, I do. Number 4, we do. And number 5, they do, or you do. And that would mean as in you speaking to your staff. You do, they do what they need to get done. Okay, you see, you manage the system with a checklist, and you develop people through coaching, training, and leading them, right? It's about these 2 areas again. Managing your systems and developing people. That's what we're talking about today. So if you follow this formula and creating training material for your people, you're going to see a difference in your revenue, in your clientele, feeling different about the environment and the culture that your people are, that your customers are walking into. So number 1, right, goes back to that why, but it has to do with explaining why their training is important. And then it goes on to explain how to do what you need to do. And next is expressing the task or the skill that needs to get done. And lastly is having them complete the skill or task on their own to demonstrate the comprehension and ability. Now, I know maybe some of this sounds like common sense, but do we have a system in place, something similar to these simple 5 steps in everything that we do to get across to, our team that we're building? Because it's a representation of us and what we're building, our brand. So it doesn't have to take any longer than an hour or 2 of training to then pass along this information. But literally every day we should be thinking, should we have a huddle at some point, or at least once or twice a week to look over these 5 areas again and make sure that they are bulletproof. All right. So, you ever work in the corporate world, have friends in the corporate world, and they talk about, well, my company does this, and our company is this, and our mission is this. And there's a point here. You want your people to talk about your restaurant, your establishment that way. Our company, us, and this. It's a good feeling, actually. It's not a bad thing, because that means that individual feels a part of something, right? It's not about they or them, it's about we. And I constantly reiterate that when I speak to owners. So let's dig a little deeper. Let's talk about that why. When we're talking about a why with those that we're training, we're talking about our story. We're talking about why we got started. They're buying in to the vision that you painted for your establishment. You're sharing your passion, you're sharing your values, and you're sharing your vision. And when people can catch on to that, they feel a part of something. They feel that culture, that instant connection, and I'm sure some of you say, we're like a family here. I mean, we spend so much time together. We're like a family. We eat together, we hang together, we cheer each other on. We cheer, in terms of accomplishments, even outside of work, we cheer each other on. That's part of the why. And then we can go deeper. Why do we do the tasks that we do? And this is more for front of the house. Why do we say hello when we do? Why do we go to the table at a certain time, in a certain time frame? Okay, then we dig a little deeper. Number 2 is the how. How do you do what you do? This is some details. and how we do it. People need to hear it from you, or they need to hear it from one of your staff that you admire, that you've trained, that maybe even has trained you some days too. Or maybe it's management. You say, no, Jen, this is not for me. I'm not the trainer. I'm not going to tell them what to say or do. They should know that. Sometimes they don't. We're in a different world today. Customer service has become a lost art, and training starts within. And it's just my opinion, and I guess I can share that freely here, that it's more than just a day or 2 or 2 weeks of training. Training is continuous. It's ongoing until it just becomes like second nature. So that how you interpret it and share it is super important. Okay. Number 3, I do, right? That means yourself. You are showing them what it looks like, what it sounds like, what it could feel like to somebody else, right? Because people can feel off of each other's energy. And it's important that you get across what you want staff to portray to the customers, to your customers. It's all of yours. Okay. And number 4, we do. We're going to do it together. Let me show you, but let's do it together. And that's a combination of further training and development, role playing, right? Because we want this to be like a dance. And there's professional dancers out there. Actually, some of my coaches, they are professional choreographers of dancing and moves. And I mean, the things they can do on a dance floor, that takes practice, that takes work. It's an art. So is working with people. So is training people. It's an art. And it's really all relational at the end of the day. And last but not least is you do. And when we say you do, it doesn't mean just it means them. So when you say that, because this whole strategy is for the business owner, okay? Why I do what I do, how I do what I do, I'm going to show you, so I do. And then number 4 is we do it together, and then they go ahead and they do it, and they show you, and you test them, and you tweak them, and you encourage them, and you say, okay, we could do it like this, or actually you did it better. I'm not going to even touch that, right? So this is a quick formula you can help to develop your people through. It's your baby. Your restaurant is your baby, and your people are also a part of your family who are like your children. And what do we want from them? The best. We want them to be the best. We want them to train the best. We want them to get the best outcomes, and we want them to make the most money, and most of all, make people happy. Because why do people come to your restaurant? You make them feel good. You fill their tummies. You take them away from whatever they were upset about that day. And there's a bigger picture there. But this is why we train and develop people in all walks of life, and including the restaurant. And that happens to be my specialty, is front of the house customer service for your people to help them to grow. And it's not to grow so they can make you look better and the restaurant look better. It's to make them be better. We're growing up, we're building up tomorrow's future leaders. And I wonder if you ever looked at it like that. Do you feel that way? Can I hear from any of you in the chat? How do you feel about working with those that you are training and developing? Do you feel that you could be a big impact in their lives? Very good. T. Cooley. I like that. He or she agrees, because I don't know what the T stands for, but that's wonderful.
Jennifer, I've got just a few thoughts or questions around this. If I don't want to interrupt your flow, but
No.
Just wanted to throw a few questions at you. I think there might be some common things that people are thinking in the crowd as well. First of all, I love what you said. The first one is around the why, right? Like, why do we do what we do? If you look at, like, not to be cliche, but if you look at the numbers of how much time we spend at work, we're spending about 75% of our life at work. So obviously it's important that people know why they're waking up every morning, and not just to come there for a paycheck, but have like a deeper sense of purpose. So my question is, for business owners that are struggling to find a why, like some restaurant owners might have a really great story, right? Their grandma was from Italy and they still have the recipes and whatever, and they want to carry on that family tradition. But some of us have businesses that maybe there is no why, and it's just a, maybe it's a, for whatever reason. So my question to you is, what do you see as common whys that work pretty well? Like for your clients or for people you've worked with, what are some common trends around the why that really gets people motivated and excited, maybe for people who don't really have one or who are struggling to find one?
Or have also possibly lost it, and the flame, so to speak, is sort of dwindling. Yes, I hear you there. And I mean, we attach our why to usually our history, our culture, our family. And yeah, it's the recipes we want to continue to leave on that tradition. I'll be honest with you, Luke, I can't provide that because that comes from within. I can't provide the why of why you get up in the morning, because your why and Brian's why and Carlos' why and Maria's why is different than my why. And I don't want to inject any of my thoughts or beliefs on that why. I've learned from my mentors, you either have a why or you don't. There's one in you. It's there. There's things that have gone on. There has been an interesting couple of years that have really kind of made us waver there. You need to sit down and get back in touch with why you do what you do, first of all, and then do you want to continue to do that? And what could make you happy, fulfilled? Totally. I really can't, and that's a great question, but I don't want to inject anything in anyone. Here's what I do believe. You need to take a piece of paper, and as crazy as this sounds, sometimes you have to, there's two things you can do, right? This old this way of thinking, it's not a bad way of thinking. It's actually, you can just put on a piece of paper pros and cons, but I would go as further as saying passions and talents. Write a line for passion and write a line for talents. And that equals your why, because somewhere in there, your passion aligns with your talent, and that's where you should stay. And sometimes you might not know the talents. You might be hurting and not feeling like, well, I'm not really that great at anything anymore. I don't even know what I'm good at. Ask your friends and your family. Ask the people you know, you like, and you trust, and you want their thoughts and opinions from. Don't ask the people you don't want your thoughts and opinions from. Because owning a business is about mindset. That's what it comes down to, mindset and heart set, right? And if these two are not aligning, you're going to have a difficult time pursuing that vision of success in your establishment. I hope that makes some sense.
Totally. Yeah, that's great. Didn't want to throw you off your trajectory there, but I think it was I think your answer makes a ton of sense. Like everyone has to have their own why, and someone, if they don't have it, they just maybe need to do more thinking about it, because everyone has something.
Yes, for more soul searching, because it can change. We change. Every 7 years, our body and everything, our whole system changes.
Yeah.
I see a couple of things coming in here. I don't know if we want to answer these now. I was quick right now today. This is a majority. I have a couple more things, but this is a majority of what I did want to cover, because it's more kind of going back, self-work and working on this, and then also thinking about how you want to put together a training program for your people and considering that and what it looks like. And if you do these 5 things, you could be extremely successful, but you have to do them on repeat a couple more times to make sure they're solidified and they stick.
Totally. Yeah. If you've got some more stuff to cover, let's do that. I think maybe first, real fast, let's have everybody in the chat If you guys can all go on the chat and just put in the chat box your why. Why, put in your why there. And if you don't have one in the chat box, that's okay too. Maybe just say in the chat box, I don't have one. But if we could get some participation, that'd be great. A couple answers coming in here. Brian says, because not everybody sees these chats, so I'll just like tell the attendees.
Working on my why. Great job, Brian. I'm sure you didn't expect to have this talk today.
Brian,
love it.
Yeah, that's good. Brian had said, could the why be customer centric? Serving our clients to provide like a break from the workday or from a day to day. He said it's very general, but maybe could hone in on that. Yeah, I think even though it's simple, I think it's powerful still. Giving people a break from their routine. I think that's super powerful, actually.
I agree with you, Luke. It's huge, because that means that you, most of all, this is another important thing about running a restaurant, is you have to like people.
Mm-hmm.
No, you don't have to, but I think it's a good idea if you do like people. And the fact that it is customer centric and that matters to you, serving is of value to you, it's part of your vision. Absolutely, that's a part of your why.
Totally.
Wonderful. I'm seeing, I want it to be independent, Carlos. And that couldn't even be a stronger why sometimes. There's just, I want the independence of making things the way I would like them to be, and the vision you see. That's excellent. T. Cooley, to serve others and my community with a positive environment and great meal and experience. And I hope it's okay that we're sharing this. If you don't want me to share it out loud, but yes, you're serving your communities. And positive environment, key words right there.
Yeah, Tom had mentioned he's going to put that on his on display at the stores, and I think that's pretty powerful too. To have it on display as a constant reminder for the staff, but also for the customers coming on in.
I agree. When they can look to that and say, this is what he stands for. This is what you guys stand for here. They feel happy and proud to be in your establishment. It would make some people continue to come back because they see that. Mm-hmm. And I actually encourage that. It's interesting that he said he's going to do that, because that's one thing I teach is, where is your vision or mission statement placed in your restaurant? Mm-hmm. And is it put in a, first of all, has it been established, that mission statement and value or vision? And also, is it in a place where people can see? That's what brings together a further connection.
Totally. Right. Look, there's so many restaurants these days where people have so many options, and I think it's important that you do these little things that just make you stand out, because a lot of times most of the time people buy from people, and they don't really care that much about your brand. But if they see you more as a human and they know your why, they know your vision and your mission, they could make that person come back to you instead of going to Applebee's or whatever, right? So I think that's great, Tom.
Yes. Making every single person crossing the door of my restaurant smile, in either the customer or a team member. And the reason why they smile is different, but the result is the same. And that's my why. Ooh, Salem, that is powerful. That is so powerful. I love it. And that's how people should be feeling when they walk in. They want they want that smile. They want that energy. People are, they need that. They really do. And I'm going to stop here for a second, since you said that. How many of you do greet your customers? How many of you are very busy, maybe doing different operations within your business, within your restaurant, but you do stop to say hello to the customers? Is that something you do? And I understand we have all different sizes of restaurants in here, but is that something that is a priority to you? Is to welcome or say hi or greet or go to everyone's table? let me know if you have any comments or want to share that. But I'm wondering that because when I speak to customers, because I just don't speak to staff and restaurant owners, I speak to the customers and I say, you know, what do you like the most sometimes when you go out? And you know what people say to me when the owner stops by and asks me how everything is? I just feel so included. I feel the family, I feel the culture, and it makes me feel welcome. Okay, excellent. Yes, the personal touch does speak volumes. Oh, wow, yes. I compliment every single one. Hey, nice jacket. If a regular customer comes in, cuts his hair, I noticed that it looks nice, and and if it doesn't be honest about it, it creates if you're honest about it, it creates a real family bond, not a fake phony thing. That's right. It's all about being genuine. You know, people want a genuine compliment. And the personal touch is capital. Okay, and you guys do it as much as you possibly can and agree. Because I'll tell you, that speaks volumes to the customer. When you can go out of your way because you're busy. You might even be the chef in the back. I'm not sure exactly what your positions are within the restaurant, but you got many hats on. But it makes people feel like hugged without being hugged, that you stop to say hello to them.
Mm.
So I want to take this a step further. Kids, free candy works a lot. Yes, I love it. So I share a lot with restaurant owners and their staff about something I put together. It's called the VLP formula. VLP. And it really goes hand in hand with what we just talked about here. And what we are discussing right now in terms of the why. And it's like a staircase. The name of my business is called Leveling Up Leadership, and everything is another step of leveling up in our lives and business. But it all starts with the vision, and we must have a vision for our lives. And the V stands for vision and values. Those need to be established, and hopefully those that are working with you know what those are. And if they don't, and you don't, start writing them down right now. You have the opportunity. We're on here right now. What are some values you have? 3 to 5 of them. And what is your vision for your restaurant? And then when you feel good about that, then you establish a mission statement. You put that up in your establishment. And that's what most of your conversation in the beginning, when it comes to the why, is around that. It's around those things: the value, the vision, the mission, AKA the why, right? And maybe that kind of answers a little bit back to what Luke was answering before. What if you don't know what the why? We're not sure. Well, think about your values. Think about the vision that you have for your future. And sometimes that changes, and sometimes we have to pivot with that, right? But it starts there. And then we go up another step. VL. L is for leadership and learning. We constantly are in a position where we have to help one another lead and also learn in the process. And leadership is all about learning, but we're not just teaching ourselves how to lead ourselves and be the best leader. We're also bringing up other leaders. And then the next step is for P. Can we take a guess? If I have everybody with me right now, but if you're still writing, go ahead and write on your with your pen and paper there. But do you know what the P might stand for? He's already answering. Practice. Okay, that's good. Okay, a couple more. What we might think the P stands for. First, there's values and visions, then there's learning and leadership, and then what comes next? That's right. That's right, my friend. Profit. Profit and prospering. They go hand in hand. But you cannot profit if you do not have a vision and you do not have your values established, you can't profit for the, let me correct myself, for the long haul. You can profit for the short term, but not for the long haul. If you're looking for longevity, if you're here's some other L's for you, and legacy, then you're going to need to establish the values and visions first. Learn and leadership, and then so you can profit to prosper. Because I'm sure you're in here today because you're people before profit, not profit before people. And that's why we saved that one for the last. So that's the VLP formula. And these are things you're more than welcome to share with those that you're bringing on board with you during your vision. They're putting trust in you. You're putting trust in them. You're looking for people that you know, you like, and you trust, or that you hope that you get to know. You better like them. And then there's the most important thing, which is the trust, right? I have a great book for you because this is where I get a lot of my teachings from. So I wanted to give you part of my secret today. A lot of my teachings come from this little book. It's literally just 115, 120 pages long. Ryan Gromfin, Make It Happen. Can you see that? It might be backwards, but
Yep.
Make It Happen. It's a tiny book for building a big restaurant business. This guy is the guru of helping people succeed in the restaurant industry. He says, you don't go in this for just kicks and giggles. You go in it because you have a big and massive vision to do something that almost will scare you sometimes. But if it doesn't scare you, it's not big enough. Sometimes it's not even worth it. It's got to scare you a little bit. You have to have some fear, and you definitely got to have some tears. But we're all about making it happen. And sometimes we just got to make it happen with what we have. For example, I'm working with a restaurant. He is on a massive tight budget, such a tight budget that we've just got to work with what we've got right now. But guess what he does have? He's got the culture and the people skills. He's got that. He doesn't need me for that. There's just a couple other tips and tricks that Luke and I can be able to share with you through our own, experiences and working with others in the industry. But you can work with whatever you have, wherever you have, if you have the right attitude.
I love that.
Thank you. If you make people's lives better, one smile, one positive experience at a time, people will come back. You just gave me the chills. Over and over again, they'll come back. And that's what's happening to this individual I'm working with right now. He's just started his business 6 months in, but people are starting to come back. And they're like, and he says, I don't want them to come back for me. I want them to come back for the food. The food is good. I'm like, but people love you. And if it's you, it's you. And then the cherry on top is the food. Usually it's like the other way around. No, they're coming for him. They love him. They love how he makes them feel. And so I hope you're grasping what this is about. There's a deeper meaning here. Yes, we're feeding people's tummies, but we're feeding people's souls too. This is a different kind of business. It's a heart business. And I hope that you grasp that. But I'll start next week, and boy, I'm scared. But you totally got this. You know why? Because you're here. Because you chose to invest your time and resources to be here today. So if there's anyone better to do this, it's you. You can do this, Maria.
Jennifer, this, sorry to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
This conversation really reminds me of some experiences I've had at Texas Roadhouse. I'm not a huge fan of Texas Roadhouse food. I think it's okay, but their service is so good where it almost blows you away how good it is. And that's why I go back there. The bread comes out a minute after you sit down, someone's there with you right away. And you just get a feeling that the employees who are there, they're just really happy to be there. And it's almost like they have some sort of I don't know, some sort of like cult following or like something weird happening, but it's so cool. Where it's really powerful and it's so obvious to see with all of their employees and even going to multiple locations. It's very similar everywhere. So shout out to Texas Roadhouse for doing a good job there. I think what you're getting at is making sure that people really care about what they're doing, and then just their customer service is just going to be good because they like their job.
Mhm.
I think that's just like a super powerful thing. And it resonated with me because I'm like, oh, I've seen that in real life.
Yes. And we've seen the good and we've seen the not so good in real life.
Mhm.
And it's funny, you'll continue to go back to Texas Roadhouse just because of that feeling
Mhm.
that they give you. It's
That's
that
right.
feeling and that care, as you mentioned. It's
Totally.
so important.
Totally.
So, yeah.
For everybody on the call here as well, Jennifer has been so kind to share some stuff and share her time for free with us. So you guys don't have to do anything with this, but if you want more help with her or from her, and you want to schedule a call with her, we'll get you guys a link that you can actually schedule a one-on-one call with Jennifer. It's a free call. But if you're interested in getting some more one-on-one hands-on help with her, we'll send out that link to her calendar after the call today. And Jennifer, if you have it, you could pop in a chat there as well.
Yeah, I do.
So I would encourage everybody, if you're looking for help in this sort of space, you definitely don't have any downside of booking a call with her. She may or may not be able to help given your situation, but I think it's definitely worth having a chat. So Jennifer, I wanted to thank you for coming on. We'll open up for some questions here in a moment as well, but wanted to thank you. Wanted to give everybody a chance to get some time with you if they want to talk. So guys, there's a link down there in the chat box. You can go ahead and click that link to schedule a quick call with her, free call, no obligation, no pressure, nothing like that. Yeah, go ahead and do that. And then I also want to open it up. We've got about 10 minutes left. So I want to open up for some questions. If anybody has any questions at all for myself, for mainly Jennifer, go ahead and you can type them out in the chat box, or there's a little like raise hand icon here in Zoom. There's a little raise hand icon, and you can press that raise hand icon, and then we can actually unmute you, and then we can talk with our voices. So definitely you can do that. And the link down there in the chat, Jennifer, I see what you're doing there. The link in the chat, do you see in the bottom right where you open up the chat widget, it says hosts and panelists? Click on that, and then you can toggle it down to go to everyone.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I was like, am I doing this correctly? Sorry. Thank you.
There it is. Yeah, it's
There
very
we
easy to
go.
miss. Yeah. So if anybody has any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat box right now. Or like I said, you can just let us know that you want to talk, and we can unmute you. Question coming in here for Jennifer. Any tips for winning over very tenured employees from the previous owner? Tips on winning over tenured employees from the previous owner.
Very good. That's a great question. And it's a challenging one. If you're up for the challenge, how long was this? I need more information. How long was this employee working with the previous owner, Maria? 13 years. Great. You're quick. Thank you. So that's a long time. That's a long relationship. And was that a good relationship? Was it a positive one? I think so. Great. Ask them. So tell me, what was it like working with the owner? How was it? Can you give me any tips? You know, you want to keep it light. You want to keep it friendly. And I know we're not looking to build but you are. And I don't want to say that we are looking to build a family and build a friendship, because that's what people want at the end of the day. They do want that. They want to feel like they can come and chat with you. So was it close? We think so. So learn more about what they liked about working with that owner, and, you know, how you can kind of meet in the middle. because it's hard. They probably had a good relationship, and so it's going to take time, and they just need to. They might be testing you out right now. And how long have you been working with them, or this? How long have the two of you been working together? Oh, you haven't started yet. Okay. Okay. Makes sense. You're preparing, you're prepping. Okay. Yeah. This is all about mindset, and it's really about learning about people. I'm taking over next week. Okay. You want to just start learning everything you can. And here's one thing that I've done when I go in and I'm a new face, and a restaurant owner says to his staff, well, we got a consultant coming in, and some people are like, I know it all. I don't want to hear from it. Who is this girl? Who does she think she is? Who are you? And what do you own? And what do you do? Right. So what I do is I individually sit down with each and every one of the staff, and I get to know who they are. I get to know their whys, their strengths, and the areas in which they want to work on and want to get better at. And lastly, I learn about their goals, because every day I'm going to remind them of those goals, or I'm going to ask them about it, or I'm going to ask them about their family, or I'm going to ask them about the last thing they spoke about me, because it's all relational. And once you take the time, you make the time to take the time and get to know them, they're going to appreciate you, and you're going to build an excellent relationship because you decided, I want to sit down and get to know you for half an hour, an hour. Let's have coffee together. Let's break bread together. And I think that's going to make a tremendous difference on, quote unquote, winning over the tenured employee. Hope that makes sense.
Yeah, I'll throw some 2 cents out here as well. I think what you said, Jennifer, about just being like meeting with them one-on-one is huge. One thing that we do at our company, and Maria, you could use this at your restaurant as well, is we really make sure that our employees know that we have a saying that they don't work for us, they work with us. So the job, and this is kind of a Gary Vee thing, but the job of all of us as owners is really not to have people work for us, but we work for all of our employees. Like if we have that mindset, and if our employees know that we work for them and they don't work for us, the whole paradigm shifts for them, because they've probably never had a boss like that is talked like that before. So I think if you let them know that you're there for them and not the other way around, that could really help.
Yes.
The double down on what Jennifer also said is find out what they're motivated by. Find out why they get up in the morning. For some people, it's going to be money. For other people, it's not going to be money. Maybe it's just that they want to progress in their career. Maybe, there's everyone has different types of motivation. So I would make those two things pretty well known, that you're there for them, not the other way around. And then just find out like what gets people going, like what do they get excited about. And then I think like those are just two easy levers to pull where you're automatically going to win that person over if you help them. So that's what I would do. If anybody else has any other thoughts, you can share in the chat box as well.
Of course. You're welcome. Great question.
Yeah, I definitely could see how that would be an interesting situation, because they probably know the business potentially even better than anybody else coming in,
Yes.
So, I think making that person just be like the go-to person, have them be your right there with you, helping you with things, that'd be great. Anybody else got any questions? We got about 3 minutes left.
There was another question by Carlos up here, how to develop the managing system. Carlos, please book a call with me so we can talk about your specific restaurant and your needs and how you're currently doing that. And I'll actually take longer, a little bit more. These are 15-minute calls, but they're never 15 minutes for me. So, so I'd love to actually have a personal conversation with you, and I can walk you through that. And again, this is a complimentary call for you, and I'd love to set that up for you if that's something obviously you would find value in, of course. You're welcome.
Shauna, Salim, Miguel, Javier, D, Carlos, guys, any more questions? We got about 2 minutes left. if we don't have any more questions, I just wanted to thank all of you for joining. Jennifer, thank you very, very much as well for joining. We do have a question here, so we can maybe dive into this one. Let's see. The question from Salim is, how do you handle getting your chef out of his comfort zone, knowing that he's super cost focused, which is good for you as the owner, but you feel like you need to push him forward a little bit more? How do you do that without creating frustration? So you've got a chef, it's focused on cost. I think what you're asking, Salim, is how do you push him forward a little more? I think what you mean by forward is maybe how do you push him to be not so cost focused, maybe? You could clarify for me.
Mhm.
But the question then is, how do you do that without creating some frustration? Got it. So how do you push him to be more creative in the kitchen, not as
Mm.
cost focused? Got it. You want
That's
to
a
take that one?
great- Again, I'm not the back of the house here, but it is talking to your staff and building your staff up. So more creative, and I've had many discussions with owners about the staff and kitchen and the creativity piece.
Mm,
And it's a tough one because you don't want to push them over the edge. You don't want to create the frustration or make them anxious. You want them to continue to do a great job at what they're doing. But maybe ask them, what do you like to make? What else can we put together? I'd love to see you put something like this together and just give them an example. Would you like to do something like this? And giving them the option, because that's their element. So making them feel good about their element. This is what you do it well. What else can we do? We want to maybe make a different special. We want to put a couple different things on the menu. Can we do something like this without feeling forceful or frustrating them? Every person's different, so I don't know the temperament of this individual. It's really about encouragement and suggestion. That's my take on it. Luke, you can take it away.
yeah, my brain first goes to numbers. So I would have a conversation or maybe show him the numbers around why this might make sense. Like, for example, if the chef is concerned about the cost of doing something maybe a little bit extra with a certain dish, if you show them the numbers around, like, here's how much more it would cost, but here's the potential benefits of doing that, and like we get an insane ROI if it works, then I think that, like, people can't really argue with numbers. Like, it's just a universal truth that everyone agrees upon. So I think the numbers could be something to talk about, if you can actually put it on paper, and then just make it official like that. The other thing as well is that we have a saying at our company, which we've learned through some masterminds that we've been through, is don't launch a warship, launch a canoe. So you don't have to create this whole huge, intricate like thing. You could just try it, right? Just test it out, see how it goes. Don't invest too much time or energy or money like making this new thing. We have some clients of ours in our advertising program that just want to get it perfect right away. And with the nature of advertising, sometimes things just don't work. It's just like the way it is. 10% of times ads with our program, sometimes they just don't work, which is kind of normal. It's just like, oh, now we need to tweak the targeting. We need to change the video. Like, that's a normal part of the process. And so if you do too much before seeing if it even sticks, it can end up being a waste of time and money. And I think this is a similar situation too, where you might just want to launch that canoe, see how it goes, and then maybe tweak it as you go.
Love that. I'm learning here too, guys. This is great.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining today. We're going to go ahead and shut down the webinar now. And then if you have any questions at all, we'll get you Jennifer's link to the call. Also a link to her email if you wanted to shoot her a message. But wanted to thank everybody for being here. You know, time is not free. You've spent about 53 minutes with us. So thank you for being here. Jennifer, another big thank you to you for joining and providing some of your free insights, free tips. I think it's going to be really helpful for everybody on the call. So appreciate you being here.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us today. Until next time, we'll talk to you soon. Okay. Bye.
Thank you.
Book a
Take
call with
care.
Jennifer. See ya.
Thank you.